always, I'm going to kick started with sharing my screen and a couple of housekeeping updates. And as always, we have plenty to go through today. So I won't take too long doing it. So yes, welcome. Today's January 8th, 2025. Can we believe it? It's insane. So yeah, thank you again for joining today's town hall. It's our bi-weekly event. So please do keep coming to these. If this is your first time, welcome for the first time, and welcome back if you're a returning visitor. As always, we are live streaming the event and we are recording it. So if you get disconnected at any point, you can go over to our YouTube page and continue to watch along there. And you can obviously watch it back afterwards too, if you need to. As always, we're going to start off with some updates from ourselves, and then we'll move into some Q&A. Feel free to ask us questions throughout the session. You can use the Q&A functionality at the bottom of your screen. Otherwise, we'll ask you to raise your hand towards the end of the session, and we'll invite a few people on stage as we get there. So I think that's going to be it from me, and I'm going to hand over to PC. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and good day. And yeah, first of all, I'm going to wish you all a very fantastic New Year 2025 on behalf of the entire team at Hospitable. May it be a hospitable year for you, and I hope I'm saying that right. An happy year for you, for your families, and may your businesses know luck, growth, and prosperity. So yeah, we hope to be with you again for 2025. And to start this year, we thought it would be a good idea to start with a quick recap of the year 2024. Now, I don't know about you, but as an entrepreneur, I know it's a bit difficult. I don't have as much time as I would like to be able to reflect on the accomplishments of our past year. And I'm pretty humbled by this task because it's difficult to summarize in a few minutes the work of an average of 45 people during 2024 for a total of 120,000 working hours, if we even wanted to count the hours, but ChatGPT did for me. Let's start with one big juicy number that I can share with you. It's the number of deployments that we have completed, some of them even successfully, during the year 2024. So 7,322 deployments. That represents about 27 deployments per day, or nearly 2 per hour, considering the actual hours where there's an engineer that basically can click the button. That speaks to how agile, responsive we are as a company. The number of those deployments are fundamentally important for you as a customers, because that tells that we are able to fix issues faster, we are able to roll out new features more frequently, and we can continuously adapt to your feedback. We want to hear from you. That level of velocity doesn't happen by chance. That's a dedicated team, solid processes, and a relentless focus on delivering value that allows for that number of deployment to continue. Now, I'm going to be serious. I kind of wanted to have a bit of a word cloud to be able to highlight any choice profanity that should be featured in those merge requests. But actually, GitLab crashed every time I try to export a CSV, so I cannot even give you an idea of the diversity of language that we're using on our merge request. But I leave that to your imagination, and that will definitely stay with us for 2025. Now, I've learned recently that when we want to look back onto the past, it's very often shaped by the present and what basically has been the outcome of that past, more so than the past is shaping the present. And when I look back onto the year 2024, I find it's been a year where we have challenged as a product, as a team, some core assumptions that made us what we were. The first assumption that has been challenged heavily during this year is the fact that we can deliver without friction the entire value of an entire product to everyone. In reality, what we've learned is really that our software means totally different things to different people. I think if we're looking at a host of 1 or 2 properties, that is basically about 60% of our customer base, we are going to be seen properly as a luxury software, because it's about solving some of the headaches related with a side hustle, but it's basically pointless if there is no value to the time that you are saving. Meanwhile, there are professional property managers that wake up and the first thing that they do at work is going to be opening Hospitable, and their working day is over when they can finally close it. There, we are the go-to daily platform for everything, and those two groups have very different level, need to have very different level of features and complexity. If we try to pile the same product for everyone, it ends up putting those two different personas in front of a space shuttle cockpit. There is one person that, needless to say, will run in the other direction, whereas the other one would probably be excited because that's what they've been trained to do. That's a challenge, very important challenge for our product in 2024. And to solve this, we decided to introduce those different packages that we're now familiar with between Host, Professional, and Mogul. That was a major piece of work that kept us busy during the first half of 2024. Now we have each plan that focuses on the right balance of features for its audience. And that way, you have the power to use tools that are the most relevant for you, and more ends of host don't run screaming from having space shuttle size cockpit of I realize the image is actually pretty dated now. Space shuttle feels it was a long time ago now. We need to move on. Next slide and next points where we were really challenged regarding our assumptions is the fact, a core belief more so than an assumption, is that we don't want to be interfering with the experience on your booking platform. That's OTAs, online travel agents. Originally, we've always wanted to stay in the background and let each platform lead, so that we are focusing on messaging, on pricing, on calendar sync, and letting the booking platform do their special sauce. But we discovered there was a big chunk of our users that obviously wants to do everything within our application. So they basically want us to be the source of truth for their calendars, for their listing content, and more. That means we have to become a property management software, something we have progressively grown into, but never fully accepted. I think, Alan, you should probably mute yourself, please. Thank you. By being clear on that proposition of becoming a property management software, we are now able to prevent double bookings with a very much higher level of reliability, reduce risk, and offer a seamless experience for all the serious managers who want to run their entire business from our application. That does mean we need to still do more work to push into those deeper integrations, and there will be more features on the way, but we have to respond to the demand. We have to keep ourselves honest with the reality of what our customers are perceiving ourselves. It's pretty much, it may be mind-blowing to a lot of you, but this was really a challenge for us to accept that level of responsibility and accept the fact that we are going to be duplicating features that fundamentally exist on your booking platform. So we're growing into that. Now, definitely in terms of features that have been delivered for you in 2024 by our team, there is an entire wall of them. Miles. That wall is all the features that were delivered in 2024. I've selected 36 of them. Those are the features that actually we've been talking about during our panels during the past 12 months. That's really the tip of the iceberg. And by far, most of the work has been ongoing on improving the existing product rather than developing those new behaviors of the product. So I want to share some specific highlights. First one is AI. That's something that obviously we wanted to develop. That we want to have that as part of a DNA of our product. We were among the first product to involve in any AI-related features, starting from 2017, when the state of the art was a classifier. Now, thanks to the work from Nick, and Nick alone for most of the team, for most of the time during the year, that's been a focus that has outsized returns simply because it's able to drive so much more value to you as the customers, especially the customers that are using on our inbox. While at the same time, there's only one engineer that actually has been working on it. So it's one engineer that can drive a lot of differentiation for our product. We are now a small team that's working on proof of concepts to test how AI can work and fix actual problems that are being solved, where AI can now all of a sudden unlock a new level of value to be delivered for you. We shared actually during the last panel, which was about a month ago, that we had our customers have sent 4 million messages assisted with AI features. That represents basically for top heavy users of our inbox, about 75% of messages being sent as is. That is the worst it's ever been in 2025. That's the foundation of our work, and we'll continue basically improving our product and unlock more value for our customers with AI. The second thing is about direct, which is actually a team that's 5 times larger than anything AI related, that has been working really from the beginning of the year on helping you push your inventory over to Google Vacation Rentals, and at the end working a lot on what we would call defensive items that are really important as a platform, such as taxes and compliance. It's been very busy. This team has been very busy behind the scenes to continue bringing those major improvements to direct basic and direct premium products. There is going to be an ongoing consolidation and refining the experience for everyone before we're able to offer the same level to our product worldwide, which we would love to make it a goal for 2025. That's my very private agenda. You can see, very transparent. And it's also good for our business because from a business perspective, the fees that we've been collecting through direct premium at the end of the year for November and December have been representing about 20% of our company's gross revenue. So that means actually growing into something that can have an impact on the company as well. And last but not least, most of the work has been really on refining our core product and the platform associated with it so that it can be used and matching more and more to alternatives, matching and surpass property management software that exists in the industry. There is a lot of features that we need to roll out, and we have started or will continue rolling out during the first quarter of 2025. So some of those features that you've already heard about extensively, such as rental agreements, such as accounting integrations, owner statements, and more integration with more channels. Remember, our product is never truly finished. It's constantly evolving, and we adapt to the customer feedback and the industry behind the industry that we're part of. Now, who is behind all of this work? So lifting a bit more of the veil. That's a team that's been, we spent so much time, so much energy recruiting and making sure that we have the perfect talent for our team. So it's represented a major achievement to be growing our team by 40%. That represents about 24 colleagues that have been integrated into our team this year. And that's definitely a massive involvement into our team. I know from the management team, there's been a lot of work spent into the interviews, the assessment, the panel interviews, and the onboarding. So now this feels a bit behind us, if I may say, which is obviously naive. We are basically have more bandwidth to work on delivering value to customers. You can see on the next slide the breakdown of this kind of repartition. So the blue is support, yellow, orange is sales and marketing, green is R&D, that includes the product managers, that also includes the engineers, with just the black line on top, which is basically truly corporate function, I would say. So that's where I am, for example. The R&D, the research and development team, has been growing very significantly. In fact, 1/3 of our engineering team has started at Hospitable within the past 6 months. Like it's a big idea, and you've seen that from previous panel where we had the opportunity to be introducing them to you. So we are actually accelerating the capacity to be working on more features and consolidating the existing product. Support remains a priority. Needless to say, we can have a big update on that soon. I mean, in minutes. We are a combined frontline, technical support, customer success, and our new onboarding teams. Now total 28 dedicated people working full time so that every customer receives the help that they need whenever they need it. Meanwhile, I know there is always a lot of anxiety and fear about growth from sales and marketing roles and then everything going down the drain. We have increased basically to just 10 people working sales and marketing roles in the company, such as Miles and Derek, who's been with a VP of sales since September. That's crucial. We are a business. We also want to hear what happened on the rest of the market and focusing on building our reach to continue growing the business. Now, have they delivered? That's the next big number I can share with you. For 2024, our revenue has grown 87%. That's a massive lift. Actually, that's pretty much in line with our history of growth. And I can share, for example, the gross cash flow historically. So that's a sum of all that we've invoiced during the past year, during the previous past year. It had very humble beginnings. Now that barely registers. I was there. This is the year where I was on my own, and now 80 people working full time on this. So during 2024, we've invoiced our customers 12.65 million, growing 87.61%. This is a real number. Welcome to all the product managers and people at Hostaway and Logify that are obviously frequent attendees of our town halls. We love you. Good luck. Now, some other updates associated with that. The gross cash flow is 12.6 million. What's the gross profit? We are operating, I think, at a state-of-the-art, solid, sustainable business model at 80% gross profit margin, which is kind of, quite frankly, what's expected of a software businesses. Now, the big question is Hospitable profitable? By how much? Who is making all that money? So, no. The second part is nothing. But yes, we are profitable. For 2024, we've been constantly profitable since March 2024, and we have an average 10% net income margin, which is basically on par with some of the alternative products in the space that are also profitable. That is not everyone, but that's some of the names that you've heard about recently. Now, that profitability, where does it go to? Well, it goes to our team. It goes to the owners of this business. That is me, but that's also their team members, and that's also the 60 customers, more than 60 customers that have been investing into our company. We are, at this point in time, the only independent founder-led business in our space, while our competitors are all of them are basically owned by private equity and venture capital firms. Hospitable is owned by its team and its customers. That is a fundamental statement that is different from alternatives. Remaining independent, that allows us to do what we feel is right. Today, tomorrow, for the next 10 years, with a level of sustainability and security, because that's our business. We have a real business that's able to do it without any external pressures, for example, to command a last minute EBITDA increase because there is a transaction that's basically about to happen. We don't even distribute dividends. And that's what I'm telling you. This money is just being entirely reinvested into the business. We are all in on the business. And we have no plan to change that in 2025. That's probably the only thing that may not change in 2025. But when we want to talk about changes, there will be plenty. Miles? Can take over while I drink a bit of water.
Cool. Yeah. So just to obviously add to that, as Pierre's going to be talking about 2024 and the move into 2025, the year we're currently in now, we obviously want to kind of share some of the kind of bigger updates and some of the things that we're looking at developing and releasing and working on in 2025. So our next town hall in 2 weeks' time, January 22nd. Same time, same place, same Zoom link. We will be going over our 2025 roadmap and looking at some of those bigger projects that we'll be working on. Obviously based on your feedback, based on some of the things we've already been talking about. So we invite you to come along, check that out, see all the new things that we'll be working on, give us your feedback, come with your questions. So if you haven't already, go ahead, scan the QR code, use the small link at the bottom, and make sure you add that to your calendar. I will call that out again one more time at the end of the session. So if you did miss it, stick around. Don't worry, we'll share the link again.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest town hall ever. And there's going to be a lot of work getting into that. Now, we're already in 2025, and obviously we've not been sitting on, cake and bottles of champagne. And we already have new members joining our team because there's still going to be a very long and difficult roadmap ahead of us. So I'm calling first Ben, who will be known moving forward as Direct Ben, second Ben in the company, and that's joining our direct team. Ben, I think you can unmute yourself and turn the video on so that you can introduce yourself to
Thank you.
To 200 of our closest customers. Good, Ben.
Sounds good. So my name's Ben. I'm based in a place called Bournemouth in the UK, joining as a software engineer, product engineer. We'll be working on our direct product, hence the name Direct Ben. And a little fun fact about me, I once gatecrashed a wedding dressed as a bear.
Which is exactly the type
There
of
you go.
personality that we need in this company. Uh, and yeah, pretty direct already so far on the onboarding. That's fantastic. This is your third day at the company, right?
That is
So
correct.
just everything. Anything weird that you can tell to other people in
Anything
the company?
weird?
Weird. I
Oh,
don't know.
nothing yet.
Nothing weird. We need
Not
to
quite.
change a few things. I'm gonna talk to Simon about it. Next, we have somebody who's been working in the shadows since June, and now we can finally announce her. Her name is Nuran. She's been working in the shadows since June. She's our new director of support, and I'm so absolutely excited to be working with her, as quite frankly, everyone in the company. Nuran, why don't you show yourself?
Hey everyone, it's really nice to be here. I have been working in SaaS support for like a pretty long time now, and I've probably published coming up to 300,000 words, largely on customer support. So I have a lot of things to say and think a lot of things about support. I'm really excited to be here. We have so many big plans for support this year. And of course, my work is largely going to be about making sure that every interaction you have with our team is a great one, no matter when or how or why you reach out. So.
Yeah. Now, there's something special about Nuran, except all the wealth of experience that she's bringing to managing and scaling support teams. You've not been able to answer the question of where you're from since the age of 10.
Yes. I'm from a lot of places. I was born in certain places and spent a really long time living. Like my childhood is also split out across different places. Currently, I'm based in Germany. My passport, I have multiple, but my primary passport, let's say, is British. So I can at least say that much.
Yeah. It's always funny to have a British person with that accent. But that's great, more accent. I love it. If you want to join our team, so thank you so much, Nuran. We'll be obviously hearing from you again on more channels. I'm sure for now, if you want to join our team, you can join working with Nuran. With Nuran as a customer support advocate lead. That's specifically a role covering US time zones. 83% of our business is US based. So we need to have some extension of Nuran to be managing the day-to-day. We are also still recruiting for an accountant in residence. I think I can disclose that we're in the assessment stage with few candidates. And we're also starting now the recruitment for a new role of Director of Operations and Finance. I've been spending most of my time working on that finance piece for 2024. It's longer overdue that I return back to working on growing this business rather than having the nicest looking P&L because it has diminishing return on my investment. And yeah, so I'm very excited to be opening this position. You can have more information on the link and by scanning the QR code. So yeah, that's it for me. Happy 2025 to everyone. Please stay with us for the rest of the product updates and join us in 2 weeks to have full visibility and transparency into our product roadmap in 2025. Even the other product managers of a aforementioned product. AI, we have some updates from Nikita.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Pierre. I'll keep it brief this time around because we have still quite a few slides to get through. So quick progress update. You might have seen something posted in our Facebook group, and we've kind of touched on this on and off in last week's town halls, but we're working on a guest sentiment feature in the inbox. And we're kind of just around the corner from releasing it. So look forward to that in the next kind of few days. What does this mean? So we will be using AI to scan guest messages and detect when a guest seems to be having a poor experience at one of your properties, and primarily surfacing that so that clearly something's happening with that guest. You'll be able to see that clearly in the inbox. There's going to be a way to kind of prioritize those particular conversations, easy to get to. If you have just 1 or 2 properties, maybe that's not that big a deal because you probably are aware of that already. But there's a lot of kind of downstream effects that are unlocked as soon as kind of this is enabled on our side, especially for larger hosts. One being like, if you have multiple people managing your inbox, sometimes, things can get lost with a lot of guests, a lot of threads. And this makes it easy to, keep track of those conversations where something isn't quite right. It needs a bit more attention. But what we also plan on doing is, one, being able to act on review requests. If a guest is having a bad experience, chances are you don't want to seem tone deaf to then kind of request a 5-star review, if they've been freezing for 2 nights because the heating is broken. That's just not a great ask. Chances are they wouldn't leave you a 5-star review unless you've resolved it really kind of spectacularly. So one of the things we're working on is the ability to automatically cancel review requests in the cases where we detect there is actually an issue with the guest. And also, apart from that, we're going to be working on a dashboard to kind of surface all of those things that might include maintenance tasks or in general things that require your attention. And we want to make those front and center for you. We haven't really been doing a good job of, servicing priority things for you kind of anywhere in the app. We're going to be working on a dashboard that's really kind of, like I said, front and center for you immediately as you log into Hospitable. These things from guest sentiment being one of the first things that will be there. So look forward to that in the coming days, and we'd love to hear your feedback on this as you work with it. So that's a very brief update on AI. We'll have a lot more to share next town hall with the roadmap. And next, I want to touch briefly on one thing we just rolled out, which is a shortcode, a new shortcode that has just become available. So Miles, we can go to the next one. So far, especially for direct bookings, guests have been given access to a guest portal in which they can manage their booking and get access to certain information about the property. But there was no real way to give great access to that through automated messaging. So there was no shortcode for that. You'd have to know where to get that link. But now you have the ability to just add a guest portal shortcode in your messaging rules to expose that to every single guest. And what information is in that guest portal will depend on where they're coming from. For all guests, you're going to get access to rental agreements, guest vetting if appropriate, house rules, and so on. For direct bookings, the ability to cancel, and something that we've talked about before and that we're kind of still working on more and more is upsells in direct premium and rolling that out to more platforms in the future. So if you're really interested in this, go ahead and check your messaging rules. You could add a guest portal shortcode moving forward. And next up, I think, is Tim with smart devices.
Thanks, Nick. Hello, everyone. Big update on devices this week is Thermostats is available now to all beta users. So if you want to join, you can. You just go to your settings, enable the experimental features toggle under preferences. You should then be able to connect your Ecobee and Honeywell thermostats. So far, we have 321 thermostats connected from 88 users, creating over 1,000 preset schedules in the process. If you want to make that 89 users, you can. Try out the integration for free until February 1st. From then, we'll move to the same pricing model as smart locks. But in the meantime, try it out, connect some thermostats, let us know what you think and any feedback that you have. In terms of what we're working on now and next to improve the integration, so coming this week, you'll be able to view temperature and preset status in the inbox in that reservation thread. And then in terms of what we're working on next after that, so a couple of things. Firstly, adding the temperature, those same temperature and preset statuses into the device dashboard also in that reservations tab. So you can see all of the relevant device, smart lock, thermostat information relevant for that reservation in one place. And then we'll also be working on syncing your thermostats to reservations immediately. So currently we wait until the first check-in to begin syncing. But after digesting some feedback, we'll start that syncing process immediately. So if the property is unoccupied, when the device is connected, we will then immediately place the thermostat into the unoccupied preset. And then finally, if you want to see what the integration looks like so far, either before you've connected the thermostat or if you're just looking for a bit of a product tour after you've connected, you can scan the QR code that's on the screen at the moment. You can go to the link and you'll see a story lane tour that will just guide you through some of the key features of the thermostat integration. That is all the updates from me. I think it's Direct next.
Yes, it is. So for Direct, our first update is for something that is no longer direct related, rental agreements. So rental agreements are now officially available for all platforms for users that have beta features enabled. And similarly to thermostats, you can actually scan that QR code and take a tour of rental agreements, how to set up a rental agreement, how to see if a guest has signed a rental agreement, how to tell a guest to sign a rental agreement, etc. So you can go ahead and take that tour and set up rental agreements if you would like, and if you have beta features enabled. We are also just making some improvements before we make rental agreements available to all users. So we are working on improving the reminders that we send to guests if they have not completed the rental agreement. And we are also going to start holding check-in messages until the guest has signed the rental agreement. So that is in progress now, and will be released before we make rental agreements generally available. But then we'll have a roadmap for rental agreements. We talked about in the last town hall, a lot of folks have requested the ability to add form fields to their rental agreement so that they can request additional information from guests, like their address or their email, for example, as well as the ability to set up optional agreements if you need guests to sign a waiver only for certain reservations. For example, if they rent equipment from you or if they use your pool or whatever it is, that is another feature that we'll be working on for rental agreements. And then next up, it is January. So we're officially in tax season here in the US at least. And we've announced this a little while ago on a previous town hall, but just as a reminder, Hospitable will be filing 1099K forms for US-based direct premium hosts if you've received greater than $5,000 in gross payouts from Hospitable, or if you operate in a state that has a lower filing threshold. And we're working on getting those 1099Ks to you now. So if you're eligible, you'll receive one by the end of the month. And this is specifically for direct premium. If you are direct basic host and you're eligible for a 1099K, you'll receive that from Stripe and not Hospitable in that case. And then also to help you with income tax reporting, we have a new annual earnings report, which should be available by early next week, if not sooner. And this is going to be available for all direct premium hosts. So all hosts that receive payouts from Hospitable. And the goal with this report is we wanted to give you a report that you could use yourself or hand over to your accountant to be really helpful when you're filing your income taxes. So we'll have a PDF summary report as well as a detailed CSV report that you can use to drill into your earnings for each individual reservation or for each transaction. And you'll be able to access the report for your entire account or for individual payout methods. So we're looking at kind of some snapshots of that PDF summary report that will be available to you. You're going to have a breakdown of the total gross earnings for the year, which will include and then it'll also break out the total service fees that you've paid Hospitable, and then any adjustments that are excluded from your gross earnings. And that number on your gross earnings report will match your 1099K if you receive one. So kind of going through the details at a high level here, but you'll have those earnings reports available here soon. And you can check out our support center for documentation on how gross earnings are calculated. And we'll also be hosting a Q&A in, I think, January 21st, where you can join and you can ask questions about income tax reporting, annual earnings report, 1099-Ks, etc. But I wanted to let you know that this is going to be available very soon. And that's it for Direct.
Cool. Jumping into connectivity, a couple big updates to share. iCals are live, iCal imports. This is one that we have been trying to do for a long time, thanks to AI, and big round of applause for Nick. This just got added right before the town hall. So if you go click refresh on your property details page, you'll now see add an external iCal button, and you can add a URL for any iCal. We're using AI to process it without getting into too much detail. All iCals, even though it's a standard, they are not standardized on what information other platforms give us. So we're using AI to solve that. It's even going to work for messaging. We're just kind of working out the last bit. So if an email is in your iCal for the reservation, your Hospitable messaging is going to work like normal. We just need to set up the proper scopes within your messaging rules, and that will get updated very soon. But very excited to announce that that is now live for all users. So go ahead and add those iCals. Another big update on the Booking.com platform. So as we'll talk about in the next town hall, roadmap for the connectivity team is very much becoming a full service PMS, which means listings management, which means you can update your listings from one centralized place, Hospitable. The first step for us doing that is we are now able to create listings on Booking.com cloned from your Airbnb listing, as well as create an account for you. That is now ready. We would love to test that with users. So if you are a host who would like to be on Booking.com, maybe you've already set up an account, but you haven't set up your listings yet, we can save you a lot of time. We'll even walk you through the process and get you set up if you'd like to volunteer for a pilot. So please scan that QR code if you'd like to join, fill out a couple questions, and we will reach out to you and do a guided onboarding with you and create those Booking.com listings on your behalf. A couple updates on Airbnb to close it out. So just at the very end of the year, Airbnb released the ability for guests to edit messages within 15 minutes of sending them, as well as to unsend a message within 24 hours. We now get those updates, and those will be updated in the inbox. They're not going to be noted in any way just yet that they were edited. We'll work on that. We're also hoping that Airbnb releases the ability through the integration for us to allow you to edit and unsend messages, which would be great. I know that's come up several times. Hopefully we get that capability very soon and can add that. The other small item that got added, so if you set a max stay in Hospitable, this is a very specific Airbnb rule. If your max stay is 28 days or longer, you can now set an exclusion that says, okay, if it's beyond that, I still want those guests to be able to request to book. That is now a toggle on your availability rules if that applies to you and you would like to accept requests to book when an itinerary is longer than your max stay. And with that, I will pass to Emily to, I think, finish up our product updates.
Yes. Cool. Hey, everybody. So first I'll start with some updates to our Mogul plan, specifically transactions and how those work. So this is a smaller one, but we've recently released the ability to edit transactions for any transaction that's associated with an open or a statement in review. So excuse me, if you've already published a statement, we consider the data on that statement to be locked, so you can't edit those transactions. But if it's not associated with a published one, you can edit the quantity, the description, all of that stuff. And that has made way for us to work towards recurring transactions, which I've been talking about for a while. Our whole team is back from holidays and we are shipping again. So early next week, we plan to release the ability to have recurring transactions. So what this means is that you can define recurrence on the transactions. Maybe it's a weekly trash fee. Maybe it's a monthly whatever bill you have for like fixed monthly expenses. But what's potentially even cooler is increasing the quantity for every booked night. So those are the three types of recurring that we're going to have as a part of these recurring transactions. And we think that this gets our expense management features into a really good place so that our Mogul plan users can use these expense management features to automate some of their statements so that you're not having to manually go in every week and add a trash fee, manually go in every week and add your monthly water bill. Those can just be added for you manually. Automatically through the recurring transaction. And then next, I'm excited about this one. So our QuickBooks integration is now officially in an internal pilot. So what we mean by internal pilot is that the hosts who work here, so myself included and many of our other employee hosts, we're actually using this QuickBooks integration with our own accounts, our own real accounts, and our own real QuickBooks accounts. So we're truly eating our own dog food and making sure that this works before we start a private pilot with our customers. We plan to start that next week. So if you're on our Mogul plan, if you use QuickBooks, and if you're interested in participating in this private pilot, please make sure that you've upvoted the feature request. You can get to that feature request by scanning this QR code. I've also just commented on that feature request with a form where you can share a little bit more information about your setup. We're going to be looking at the people who've submitted that form and making sure that we have some good diversity in our private pilot users so that we have some people with a couple properties, some people with a lot, some people with simple setups, some people with complicated setups, to make sure that we're really covering all of the use cases here when we're using this in a private pilot. What this QuickBooks integration is going to do is going to allow you to connect your QuickBooks account to Hospitable, create accounts and map existing accounts if you already have them set up in QuickBooks, create classes to map your properties to, and then every single time you publish a statement or an invoice, we're going to be pushing journal entries to QuickBooks in alignment with how you have your commission set up and your accounts mapped. So it's really great. We're excited about this. We hope this saves you a ton of time every month from having to manually add things into QuickBooks. This is just going to happen automatically when you publish statements in Hospitable. So yes, please upvote that and fill out the form mentioned in that feature request if you're interested in participating in the pilot. And maybe a side note on accounting integrations, after we have released QuickBooks and feel really good about it, we're going to start on Xero. So we'll be expecting a private pilot for Xero maybe in February. So definitely upvote that one as well if you're using Xero. Okay, next for Mogul Plan users, we are working on advanced revenue recognition options. We're planning on getting this out by the end of the month. What this is going to allow you to do is basically define how your revenue is recognized, whether it's everything on check-in, everything on checkout, prorated, so by the day. This is for you who do midterm rentals. This will be really good for you. Or a mix and match of both if you have a specific way that you've kind of set up your business that you need to support. So this work is in progress, going well, and we're expecting that at the end of January. Another big piece that's in progress is being able to show adjustments or handle adjustments rather, so that those are reflected on your statements. So if you have, let's think of a real example. If you have an Airbnb reservation that checked out and a couple weeks later you ended up having to reimburse the guest $50 because they were unhappy with the cleanliness of the property. Right now, before we were not able to always pick up on those adjustments. Now that we can, we need to ask you how you'd like to handle that on the statement. Do you want it to show it all? Do you want it that in that case, that would subtract from the cleaning fee maybe? And so we're actually going to be leveraging AI to make a suggestion to you by looking at the conversation you've had with the guest and saying, hey, the guest was unhappy with the cleaning, you refunded them $50. We think this should actually come out of your cleaning fee, so that based on the way you've set up your commission agreement, it all just kind of like works from there and is divvied out to owners appropriately. So that's more work that's in progress. And a smaller one, but an impactful one, has been a big request from many hosts, is that we start consolidating statements, whether that be by owner or consolidating statements for parent-child properties. Right now, every single property gets its own statement, which is fine if you have one owner with one property, but not fine if you have one owner with 5 properties. You want to be able to send them one statement for all of those. So we're going to be working on that as well. And then perhaps the biggest one we have kind of on the horizon is the owner's portal. So we're kind of researching, designing, planning this out right now. So please go to this feature request, upvote it, share your comments, your ideas. We'd love to hear what it is you'd like to see in an owner's portal at a high level. The idea is that we'll be able to actually invite your owners to a portal where you can kind of manage your agreement with them, publish your statements. They can see their property's performance. Maybe they can book owner stays. and more. We'd love to hear your ideas to make sure that we're accounting for the things that are going to save you the most time. Okay. Last but not least, I'll share some updates from our platform team. So this team sometimes operates under the radar. We work primarily on our public API. We work on our webhooks. We work a lot with our vendors. And so first I'll share, we have 4 new integrations to share this week. We have one with Minute. They're a noise monitoring device, occupancy monitoring, smoke monitoring. They monitor all the things. And now they are an official integration partner with Hospitable. They had also integrated with us before on an old API, so you may already have used them and have experience with them, but now you can connect with them in this new way. Next, we have STRly. They're damage waivers, if that's something that you're interested in. No deductible, no minimum. So if you're interested in damage waivers for your reservations, you can check out STRly. Next, we have Linkbase, and they're actually offering a 1 month free of Linkbase to Hospitable Host. If you book a call with them, there's a link there. Linkbase offers a guest portal with guest verification, security deposits, upsells, and check-in instructions. And last but definitely not least, we have a new integration with checkin.com. So if you're in Europe, you probably know about Check-in. They do ID verification, authority reporting. We've heard really great things about Check-in, and we've heard a lot of feature requests for people who are really excited about a Check-in integration. So they are now available as well. And you can browse other integrations we have by going to the apps page from within Hospitable. Speaking of the apps page, we have a connected apps page. This is a couple months old at this point, but we've added a couple things to it that I want to highlight. One, so we've talked before about how we had an old version of our API, and now we have a new version of our API. For the most part, you as a host don't need to care about that. Our vendors and integrating partners are the ones who care about that. But everything you see here on the connected apps page, these are partners who have upgraded to the new version of the API, which means that we have more insight into what they're doing on your account. So we're protecting you as well. And you can see all of the capabilities. So here on the connected apps page, you can see what they can do with that connection. And now you can also remove access if you'd like to. So if you go to your connected apps page and are unhappy with how someone's performing, just remove access from there. Before that had to be initiated from the partner side, and now it doesn't. A couple things our team also has in progress is property webhooks. This will be for vendors so that they know anytime you add a new property. So like if you have a vendor who's done a direct booking site or something, that information can automatically populate on your website. And also that'll be available to you as a host if you use webhooks and would like to send those somewhere every time you have a new property or your property details change. Okay, so I'm going to go into the more technical part of the update, and I'm first going to tell you that you can stop paying attention if you don't fall in one of these buckets. But I want to announce, and we've shared this in email as well in previous town halls, that version 1 of our public API is going to die on February 3rd. That's because we have a newer, better version available that all of those apps I just talked about have already upgraded to. So this doesn't impact anybody who's listed on that connected apps page and most people who are listed on our apps page in our site that you're browsing. So who does this impact? If you are a developer who's built your own integration with Hospitable, this might impact you, so you might want to continue paying attention. Or if you've hired a developer to build an integration with Hospitable, you might want to pay attention. Or if you use webhooks to send reservation notifications anywhere, like maybe Zapier, Google Sheets, your accounting software, you might want to continue paying attention to this next part. If you don't fall in any of those buckets, you can tune out for a second. I don't want to bore you. So if you're a developer or have hired a developer, legacy API keys are going to stop working on February 3rd. And in order to continue accessing Hospitable through an API, you need to use access tokens instead. So you can go to Apps, API Access, and toggle over to API Keys Legacy to see if you have any of those configured. And if so, instead, you're going to want to configure an access token over in that other tab. And upgrade to the next version of our API. Again, if you're a developer, this makes sense to you, and I can also share a more detailed migration guide in a second. The next bucket of people are potentially hosts who are using webhooks. So you can find out if you're using legacy webhooks by going to Apps, Webhooks, and then toggling over to the Webhooks Legacy tab. If you have anything here, this means that every time you get a reservation, we're sending information to that destination. That's going to stop happening on February 3rd. So instead, you'll want to configure the new webhooks, which are available in that first tab called webhooks. Again, the structure is changing. So if you're using Zapier or sending this to a Google Sheet for accounting or something, we'll be sending different data, better structured data, and more data, really, through these new webhooks. So you'll want to make sure that that is updated as well. And we are here to help for technical support. So we have a specific team who supports our vendor partners and some of our more technical hosts who build their own integrations. So if you need help with this upgrade or have any other questions, you can reach out to the platform support team specifically at team-platform@hospitable.com. Or if you want to have a go at this, you can scan that QR code, and we have a detailed migration guide, again, that's aimed at developers or people who have hired developers to build an integration with Hospitable. Okay, I hope that made sense. Now everybody, even those who were not in those buckets, can pay attention again because Miles has some more exciting stuff to talk about. Miles.
Unblock your ears. Thank you very much. Sweet. So yeah, just going quickly on some of those events that we already called out during the session. So as Abby called out, we do have a direct booking US tax Q&A coming up January 21st. So please join that to understand what we're going to be doing for you in terms of taxes on the direct side, but also some general tax updates from CPA. So that's Amanda Han from Keystone CPA that's also going to be joining us for that session to share some kind of best practice tips as well for tax filing season. And as I called out earlier as well, we have our 2025 roadmap session coming up in our next town hall. So join us January 22nd for that. And then finally, January 28th to 29th, we have our next online conference, host-led. So we've brought together a bunch of hosts that we believe are, really top individuals doing great things, and they're basically going to share their tips and insights on how they are being so successful. And so come on to that event if you want to learn some new things, learn how they're using Hospitable to grow, but also just kind of some general tips on, acquiring new properties, marketing their properties, and other things like that. And so without further ado, I'm going to leave it there and we're going to open it up to questions. So if you would like to ask a question, we have a little bit of time left. You can go down to the react button at the bottom of your screen and you can click raise hand. We'll then pick you out from the audience to see what your question is. So Akshay, inviting you on stage now to ask your question. Hello. Hello, Akshay. There we go.
Hey, hi.
Hey there, do you have a question for us?
Yeah, I'm new. I'm still figuring out a lot of things, and I'm facing some issue in some pricing availability, meaning minimum pay, all that, and I needed some help. I wanted to ask if I can get hold of someone later to talk and get help, and what is the easiest way to get help when I want to talk to someone, because with the available information, I do try to dig in and find something, but sometimes it's not that useful because I see some bugs or something like that. So that time, what is the best way to contact and get quick help, and what do you suggest?
Hey there, Ash. Hey, Jen here. Yeah, we have a full support team, so you can always chat us from your Hospitable account on the bottom right. That goes to our live team, and we have team members across the entire globe, so we're here for you. And yeah, we also, for anyone interested too, we do have a priority support feature. So if you're interested in getting on technical Zoom troubleshooting calls, if it's hard to troubleshoot online, that's an option too. That's in your account under, it's where your setting subscription is. There's an option to upgrade to priority support. But otherwise, we're here over chat and email, and we can definitely help you out. Just give us as much detail as you can, like what calendars you're looking at, what dates, and we can definitely look at all that with you.
And where is the chat option exactly? Each time I try to do, I think it just goes to email.
So it's, go ahead, Miles, if you can explain it better than me.
No,
it's the bottom right of your account.
It should be bottom
of pink button.
Yeah, sorry. We both said that. So yeah, it should be the bottom right of your account. So if you're logged into Hospitable, you should be able to see it in the bottom right. There's a little kind of pink chat button there, and that should be able to help you there. Sorry, Jen, repeating your message. Cool. Thank you very much for your question, Akshay. Moving on, we have Quintin. Hello, Quintin.
Hello. Long time no see.
Yes, yes. How's it going, guys? I
What's up?
finally figured a way to put my name in there with my business's name. So yeah.
Still not.
Um,
It's only been 2 years, I think. It's been 2 years. We're patient. You will do it once.
well, thanks for being patient with me. Happy New Year to all. My question is actually as it relates to the connected apps and the upgrade to the new API. Are there new features associated with that transition, or is it merely just a technical move over by the vendors? So that's the first part of my question. And the second question is, where can I find the connected apps? When I open my app and it just says apps, I don't see a toggle for connected apps. Am I looking in the wrong place? So sorry, that's two questions.
That's okay. Okay, so first, V2 of the API, it does have a lot more information in it. It is primarily like a developer product. So we're mostly working with vendors, but of course, if you're a developer yourself, it sounds like you might be, you can interact with it through an access token. The biggest thing it does for you as a host is it now gives you insight into who's actually connected. So for example, that connected apps page, which I'll try to help you with in a second, we can see who's connected with you. Before, with our old API, we didn't have that visibility, which you can imagine could be bad. We don't know who's interacting. And we can start throughout the product basically giving credit to who's done what. So one primary example of that is now if you're connected to Price Labs on your calendar, if you click on a day, we can actually see that Price Labs is responsible for that price change. So you have a lot more insight into like who's doing what and why. For the connected apps, if you click on apps, there's like a little light gray sub nav that should pop up where you should see connected apps towards the bottom under a section called tools. If you don't see that, that's odd. But yeah, if you still can't see it, definitely let us know. And we can reach out and try to help you out with that.
I found it. It is
Okay.
there. Thank you.
Good.
That was
And
helpful.
while we're on the topic, there's a couple questions in the Q&A I'd like to address live. Somebody asked, if we have legacy API keys for Price Labs and StayFi, do I need to take action to ensure those get to the new API? So most of the vendors have already started the upgrade process. Price Labs is finished. So if you go to your connected apps page and see them mentioned in connected apps, you're good. You don't need to do anything. You can delete the legacy API key if you want to stop receiving communications from us. StayFi is in the process and they will meet the deadline. So don't do anything with that one right now, but they are going to be upgrading as well. So yeah, that's kind of the rule of thumb. Check the connected apps page first. If you see them there, you're good. You shouldn't need to communicate with vendors if it's like someone that we all know about, but if it's a developer that you've hired that's like one person doing technical work for you, then that's when you might need to communicate with them and make sure that they know about this change.
We're
Okay.
in touch with the engineering teams all over the industry, and they are aware of it. You could always be super extra prudent and check with them. There is always we do this reach out because there is always going to be one or two funders that we don't know about. And for them, if they are not checking on their API integration and the messages and the errors that we're currently displaying for them, they may have some bad news on February. So if there is you using a product that is not featured on our app marketplace, on our app platform, that's probably a good idea to reach out to them just to check that there is a process with them on the loop. That's what we're broadcasting this message again and again.
Cool. Okay. Thank you very much for your questions, Quintin. And the answer, Emily. So Sophia, inviting you on stage for our next question. Hello, Sophia.
Hello. Thank you. I have been trying to, I've got priority support and I have been trying to get help with an issue regarding an Airbnb calendar that shows that it's open on both Hospitable and on my Airbnb calendar. However, when someone tries to book those dates, they're blocked. They're not available. And I have been on the phone, well, not on the phone, but email virtually, I guess, with Jake, but I'm not able to get him on Zoom. So how do I
I mean, I thought with the priority support, I'm able to speak with someone and get a problem resolved, but this has been happening now for over 3 weeks and I have no solution.
Hey, Sophia, Jen here. Yeah, I actually see the conversation you've been having. I'm going to send you my calendar so you can schedule a call with us. You're already paying first party. We probably should have offered that a while ago, and I'm sorry that we didn't. I'll send you that today, right, as soon as we hop off town hall, if not sooner.
Okay, I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we'll get
Thank
you all
you.
set. We'll make sure your calendar can get open for sure.
Yeah, because it's been frustrating. And the other issue I have is that I go to my apps on Hospitable, and it doesn't show that I have any apps, but I am connected to Beyond Pricing, and I think that oh, am I there?
You are,
Yes.
yeah. And I see Emily unmuting herself, so I think she probably knows what's going on here. Maybe they didn't complete that
Yeah. Is it just
integration yet.
Beyond that you're expecting to see?
Yes, I am expecting to see Beyond, but I don't see it. And I know I have it. I know I've been
Yeah.
paying for it.
Yep. So they are using the old version of our API right now, which is why we don't have visibility and are not able to show that to you in the UI. However, they are upgrading. So you're good. You don't need to worry about that. They're going to meet the deadline. So once they upgrade, you'll see that in the connected apps page. But right now they're just connected to you via a different method that we don't have as much insight to. So you're okay. You should be okay.
So they are connected to Hospitable. And so if I have VRBO and I have Airbnb, then that means they are connected to both. Is that correct?
Yeah, they would get access to your hospitable properties, which contain all of those listings. If you actually have suspicion that they're not like changing your pricing or anything, then it's something we would want to look into or you'd want to reach out to them about. But we would not expect to see them in the connected apps page today, but we will by February 3rd.
So the issue with them too, and I don't know if you guys do this with Price Labs because I'm looking into possibly moving, but with Beyond, they're charging me for my direct bookings. And I don't know if anybody else on this call uses Beyond Pricing, but they charge you, even if you do a direct booking, if you put it into Hospitable, they will charge you. And like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, because some of my direct bookings are, longer seasonal because we're in Florida. So is there a way that Hospitable can not send those to Beyond?
I don't know a ton about Beyond's pricing strategy, but I've seen that before. I've seen a lot of dynamic pricing do like variable pricing where they basically charge a percentage of your booking value. They don't all do that, or some of them have different plans. So we can't not send one vendor a specific thing just because of how they're priced, unfortunately. But I would, encourage you to check out other plans. Maybe they have an option where they're not charging the percentage of booking value you're getting.
Okay. Because I mean, the only other option is don't put it into Hospitable on what I'm getting, but then my metrics aren't correct as far as, I can block it. I can block the dates, put the information that it's blocked, but don't put an actual amount.
Right.
But then
I want to be clear we understand. What is a direct booking for you?
So
Sophia?
a direct booking would be a guest that has stayed with me in the past, and so I do a separate invoice for them, and they do a direct payment.
So it's on our case that would be considered probably more like a manual booking. There's no actual
Yes.
interaction with the direct product, and so you need to add those things manually.
Yeah, I mean, a hack could be you put $0 for that, but again, that's going to make all your metrics
Incorrect.
not good. So yeah,
I think you have a challenge with Beyond Pricing. Sorry to hear that. There are multiple alternatives. On our side, can tell you that we're absolutely fully recommending a product like Price Labs. Based on the customer base, there's a lot of traction on that. And they have a pricing that is on a fixed amount, irrelevant on the number of reservations, but more relevant on the number of properties that you're connected with them. We have Eli sending a message in the chat saying that Eli is an investor into Hospitable. Hi, Eli. Anyone doing more than 24,000 per property should be using Price Labs or Wheelhouse instead of Beyond, essentially because of that pricing consideration. It's a bit sad because I'm sure they have a great product, but there is a challenge on the value and the return when a competitor can do the same.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you, Sophia. Okay, unfortunately, we do still have a few hand raised, but we're already over time, so I think we're going to have to cut it there, folks. Apologies.
And we need to work on that roadmap for 2025 and doing big plans. So we're gonna stay ready. We're gonna need to prepare that big town hall. It's not often that we're actually committing the time to do a proper yearly road mapping exercise. I don't know exactly what's gonna come out of it. We have some very big direction that we know are gonna be stable. Just everything intermediary is pretty much negotiable on making sure that we are delivering the max value to customers right now. And yeah, and there are some pretty exciting things nonetheless that we want to build. So yeah, once again, very happy new year for everyone, for your families, for your businesses, for your teams, for all the operations people, for your cleaners that are also doing such a big contribution to our and your businesses. So thank you so very much, and we'll stay in touch and see you next time, same place, 2 weeks from now, for probably what's going to be the biggest town hall of the year so far, 2025, and the roadmap. Thank you, everyone. If you want to watch a replay and watch everything, you can go to YouTube, Hospitable Town Halls. There is a collection of them. Thank you so very much. Have a great